Welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at 9 classical female variations that I think are some of the most simple and perhaps the easiest to adapt for a more improver level dancer, or perhaps a child looking to do a competition or a solo performance. Keep in mind, these are from real ballets, so they are not necessarily easy, but I've called them simple because they are either repetitive or they're easy to adapt onto demi-pointe. Starting off with the peasant girl variation from Giselle. So this variation has some glissades, it has some arabesque, some assemblée ciseaux. In this clip, the ballerina does a beautiful big ciseaux, but you don't need to do the splits with yours. You can vary the height and the size of your ciseaux. It also has some grand jetés and some piqué turns. So again, completely up to you how big your grand jeté is. And with your piqué turns, you could do them the same speed as this dancer, or you could do them half speed if you want a slower pace. I've chosen this variation because it is very repetitive and I think it's quite easy to adapt onto demi-pointe. Next we have the Fairy of Tenderness from Sleeping Beauty. This is such a beautiful variation. It's one of my favourites. It's particularly good for dancers who enjoy pushing their artistry and their expression and storytelling. It's very soft and gentle. And in terms of steps, you'll find a few arabesques, some développés, and a lot of walks on point, which again, they might be quite difficult on point, but so much easier on demi-pointe. It's also a very short variation at just over 1 minute long. Next we have the Cupid variation from Don Quixote. This again is a lovely variation. It's very sweet, it's quite playful. Again, really good if you enjoy showing your artistry or you're good at storytelling. So in terms of steps, you'll find some arabesques, some développés. Then we have a diagonal of turns, and you could either copy the same choreography as this, or you could choose your own turns if you want to adjust it slightly. Then we have a grand jeté section, and we finish with some emboîtés. So nothing too fiddly or complicated. Again, each section repeats itself, and it would be great on demi-pointe. Next, I had to include pikita. I've chosen 2 variations from pikita, and I'm going to start off with the first one. So this variation has quite a few jumps, so you'll need to enjoy your allegro. Obviously in this version the dancer is doing an entrechat, but this would be very easy to change for maybe even just a changement. Then we have a diagonal with a mix of turns and jumps. I've seen lots of different versions of this, so again it's really up to you of which turns or which jumps you want to include. Then we have another diagonal from the other corner, and these are obviously jeté en tournant, but again they could be easily adapted as long as you're choosing some kind of jump that travels along the floor. I've seen lots of different versions and there are many different types of jumps that should work. And then the variation finishes with another diagonal, and this time it's turns. So you could have a bit of a pick and mix here. You could have some piqué turns, some lame ducks, some chaînés for example. They would all work. And then we have this lovely finish position to end. Moving on for another pikita solo, I've chosen the 5th variation. This solo has loads of développés à la seconde, so this would be good if you do have good flexibility to the side. It's slow and controlled. Then we have quite a few arabesques, so piqué arabesques travelling backwards, so you'll need to have a good control of your arabesque and attitude position. Then we have another quite repetitive section, again with some développés devant and some more arabesques. They're all slow, so as you can see, this variation would be great for a dancer that's flexible and really good at controlling their extensions. And then finally we have a turning diagonal, and same as in our previous pikita, you could pick and choose what kind of turns you want here. You don't necessarily need to follow the choreography that I've included here. I have seen lots of different versions, and as long as they are travelling turns, they should work. Next, I've included the fairy doll variation. So this variation isn't quite as simple as some of the others that I've included, but I've put it in because it is a lovely one for children to perform at competitions, or even to just do as like a solo performance. You will need to be good at arabesques and relevé retires because there are a lot of them in this solo and it is quite repetitive, so you'll need to have good strong ankles and clear positions. You'll also need to be happy with some en-dedans turns. You don't necessarily need to turn in attitude arabesque, but I would recommend an en-dedans turn even in retire. There's a lot of acting in this solo, so again, great for dancers who are very expressive and are natural storytellers. It's very pretty, very sweet, and a real gem of a solo. Speaking of storytelling, the next variation I've chosen is Swanhilda from Act 1. So I would say the emphasis on this variation really is about storytelling, because you are communicating with another character on stage. Just if you were to do this as a solo, you wouldn't see Coppelia sitting up on her balcony, but that's who we are directing a lot of our interactions towards. So a huge amount of acting here. You'll need to be very clear of the story between Swanhilda and Coppelia to understand the choreography. But then in terms of technique, you'll need to be comfortable with ton levés, arabesques, emboîtés, piqué retires, some entrelacés, développés à la seconde, and then at the end you'll notice some lame ducks. You don't have to do lame ducks, but that is part of the sort of standard version of this choreography. This is one of the longer solos, but quite a lot of it is taken up with acting and storytelling. For our 8th variation, I've chosen the bluebird solo. So this is the female solo, and again, it's very short. It's just 1 minute in length. You'll need to be confident with développés à la seconde, fouettés arabesques, relevé retires, échappés, courroux, might call these bourrées, and piqué turns. So again, I wouldn't say this is an easy variation, but it is simple in that it's quite repetitive. So you've only got a handful of steps that you would need to work on and really master, and then it's just a case of repeating them and making the linking steps nice and smooth. And for our last variation, I've chosen Raymonda, the dream scene. This is such a beautiful adagio solo. It's incredibly soft and dreamlike, so really good for dancers with natural expression and artistry and some lovely extensions. And you will need good control of your extensions because it is very slow. So the beginning involves a lot of piqué arabesques followed by développés en avant. This is quite a repetitive and slow section. Then you'll have some grand jeté rond en l'air. So this is when we take the leg from the back to the side, we kick it up in the air and it lands gently at the front. And this would work quite well on demi-point. Then you have some renversés, which are quite difficult. If you're new to them, I would recommend you keep the leg quite low. And then you'll be very happy to hear that there is no turning diagonal. Quite often with ballet variations, they'll finish with a diagonal of lots and lots of traveling turns, but this variation finishes with a series of attitude arabesques. So for those who don't enjoy turning, I would really recommend this solo. So those are my choices for 9 female variations that are relatively simple and good for improver, dancers or children. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.